Good morning, dear students. We were discussing chapter 2, Rise and Spread of Islam. Today we are going to learn the last point of this chapter, Spread of Islamic Culture. First we will see growth of trade and commerce. Under the patronage of the Abbasid Caliph, the Arabs dominated trade wherever they went. This brought them prosperity. In order to help long distance trade, the Abbasid kept the land routes in good condition, maintained camel motels, and developed a good banking system. Muslim traders controlled the sea routes in the Indian Ocean and the Persian Gulf region. The Islamic urban centers had industries specializing in the manufacturing of carpets, brocades, perfumes, and goods made of silk, wool, metal, glass, and leather. These goods kept the flourishing trade going. Trade promoted interactions between the Arabs and people of other culture. The Arabs gathered knowledge from the Greeks, Chinese, Persians, Indians, and Romans, and then spread it far and wide. Arabic became an international language in the medieval period because of their trade and commerce. Now we will see literature and philosophy. The splendor of the Abbasid court in the 8th and 9th century under great caliphs like Harun al-Rashid inspired many legends. Such legends later found place in the stories of the 1001 Night. Arabs also translated literature works from other parts of the world. The Sanskrit work Panchatantra, for example, was translated into Arabic as Kalila wa Dimna. It was later known in Europe as the Fables of Pilpay, after the narrator Vidyapat or Vidyapati. Islamic poetry in the Persian language attained great heights around the 12th century. A work of worldwide fame is the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam. Muslim philosophers were deeply influenced by the rational ideas of Greek philosophers, especially Aristotle. They translated a number of Greek philosophical works into their own languages. So, when we talk about literature and philosophy, keep the names of these literature works: The 1001 Night, Panchatantra's translated version, Kalila wa Dimna, Islamic poetry in the Persian language, and a literature work that got worldwide attention, the Rubaiyat. And when we talk about Muslim philosophers, they were highly influenced by the ideas of Greek philosophers. Now we will see about science. Muslim scientists initially studied and translated Greek and Indian works in astronomy, astrology, and medicine. Later, they studied by themselves and contributed their new ideas to this field. The Arabs made great progress in the use of lenses and built observatories that provided accurate astronomical idea and data. They found out that the earth rotates on its own axis and revolves around the sun. Two people, those who made great contributions in the field of diagnosing diseases, were Arab philosopher scientists like Rases and Ibn Sina. The Arab rulers built hospitals and encouraged the study of medicine. Ibn Sina's work, The Canon of Medicine, was used in many medical schools. Alchemists, medieval chemical scientists, searched for the philosopher's stone, which they believed could turn common metals into gold. In the process, they discovered new metals, drugs, and other substances. They attained great experience in chemistry and in preparing medicines. Now we will see the contribution of Arabs in mathematics. The Arabs borrowed the decimal system and the concept of zero from India. The Indian numerals 1 to 9 and 0 were introduced in Europe by the Arabs. Because of that, it came to be called Hindu-Arabic numerals. The Arabs invented algebra. They also learned Greek concepts of geometry and made remarkable progress in trigonometry. Islamic architecture flourished under the Byzantine and Persian rulers, who built palaces, libraries, educational institutions, hospitals, mosques, and tombs. New features such as the minarets and the onion-shaped dome were introduced. Islam does not allow the use of human forms in decoration. Instead of that, Islamic painting and sculptures depicted geometric patterns and floral designs. Buildings were often decorated with mosaics and calligraphy, a form of ornamental writing. This is the end of this second chapter. Now we will see the main points to remember. In the 7th century AD, Prophet Muhammad founded a new religion called Islam, which united different nomadic tribes of Arabia. Muhammad born in AD 570 and he preached the divine messages that he is said to have received through the angel Gabriel. These teachings were later combined in the Quran, the holy book of Islam. Muhammad preached monotheism and opposed idol worship. This made little disagreement among Arabs. They forced him to go from Mecca to Medina in AD 622. This event, called Hijrah, marked the beginning of the Islamic era and the birth of the Muslim community. Soon, Muhammad was welcomed back to Mecca as the Prophet. The followers of Islam are called Muslims. They worshipped one God, Allah. In Islam, there are no priests, but religious scholars explain the laws of the Quran. Islam stressed on the brotherhood of men. A Muslim should recite the Shahada at least once in a lifetime, pray 5 times a day, give alms to the poor, and pay tax on income. And he must fast during the month of Ramzan. And at last, he wants to undertake the Hajj at least once in a lifetime. After Muhammad's death, the Muslim community was led by caliphs. After the tenure of the fourth caliph, Ali, Islam split into two sects, Shia and Sunni. The most powerful caliphates were those of the Umayyads of Damascus and the Abbasids of Baghdad. Under them, Arab influence extended from Spain in Europe to Sindh in India. Arab traders introduced Islam in Gujarat and in Malabar. After the 10th century, several Turkish tribesmen recruited as generals emerged as amirs and sultans of independent states. The Turkish ruler of Ghazni invaded India in the 11th century. After the 11th century, the Seljuk, Khorid, and Ottoman Turks controlled West Asia. The Crusades were a series of religious wars between the Christians and the Muslims, which lasted from the 11th to 13th century. Though the wars were destructive, trade and interactions between Europe and Eastern nations increased.